What's up guys, it's Manga time once again. I'm here today to bring you my review of Bleach 654, Dead Man Standing, and you're going to have to bear with me a bit because this chapter has come out at a really weird time for me here in the UK. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, so I wanted to get a review out for you guys because if I don't do it now, it's going to be like 10 hours late or something stupid like that, so I want to do it now, but you're going to have to bear with me because I'm going to have to talk a bit quieter because everyone in the house is asleep. So, yeah. So, subscribe, guys, if you like the videos. I'd super appreciate it. But the chapter starts off with Lille Barro raining down way past the Varvelt, and I was like, okay, this is weird. This is a bit of a weird development. What the hell's going on? I wasn't expecting to see this. So before anything else happens, we see his wings turn into actual feathers, which actually is very cool, very angelic, and I like that a lot. So it looks like Nanao's sword did literally disperse him. She then collapses to the ground, but Shunsui catches her, and it's a nice moment between the two. But at the same time, you can't help but think that Nanao is coming across a little bit pathetic. She is supposed to be a lieutenant, and I can't help but get the feeling that Shunsui did essentially just make her that position because he's related to her. I'm not saying she's not capable. She's clearly very capable with Kido, but it's disappointing to see a lieutenant with such little battle prowess. But at the same time, I like the humanity that she brings to the fight because not everyone can be this shonen warrior who just doesn't take any damage. So she looks up at him and she's like, oh, Captain. And he's like, well, I think it's about time we go and help the others. And I like this selflessness because obviously he's like screwed. He's got at least blasts in 3 parts of his body. So he, of course, collapses. And basically Nanao runs over to him and he's like, oh, this must be my body's way of telling me to get some rest. And then things start getting weird. This gets really weird. Dead Man Standing title obviously refers to a couple of characters. It refers to Lille, it refers to Shunsui, and it refers to this next character who's going to appear. So I just want to bring a few things up first. The Soul Society now appears to be fully back. Obviously it's kind of like nighttime now because the Varvelt, I think, gave off that darkness. Unless that's Shunsui's Bankai, but it's nighttime apparently. So, the Soul Society is back, and I don't like. We saw it come back when Yuhava restructured Varvelt, but I don't really know if I like this. It's just so easy. It's such an easy way for them to just be like, oh yeah, the Quincy fucked Soul Society by covering it in their own buildings, but it's fine. They're all gone. No worries. Because I think it was during the Ichibei fight, Shunsui said something along the lines of, when the Quincy finally leave, are we going to have to rebuild, or are all our buildings going to come back, perfectly fine? That'd be nice. And that appears to be what's happened, and that's disappointing to me because I get the burning feeling that when this fight is all over, nothing's going to have changed. Because not only that, there are still fodder Shinigami doing fuck knows what. What are they even doing? You don't get, in my opinion, the impression that Yuhava has now taken over the world because the Shinigami are just doing nothing. They're just like, oh, we'll just go about. The Quincy buildings are gone, the Quincy are gone. Let's just go about our daily lives as if nothing's happened. And that's definitely a little bit disappointing to me. But whatever, I suppose if that's the way Kubo wants to go about things, then that's fine. And we do get a glimpse of Aizen. Pretty funny that he has just been left down there in his chair. That is quite funny. Does make me wonder why Shunsui bothered releasing him in the first place, but whatever. So, the body parts of Lille have rained down on Soul Society and they have smashed into a bunch of buildings. And this is I don't get this sequence. I feel like this chapter, although it is transitioning into the next fight, might be better reviewed later on when I suspect these events will come into play, presumably. But anyway, random Shinigami number 1 is like, oh look, something's crawling out from under where that light hit, and he gets his fucking face blasted. And Lille Barro emerges, and it's now past the point where I can sugarcoat this design. He now looks absolutely ridiculous. Like, what does this have to do with anything? Like I said this last week, where's the consistency in his theming? Why is he now I presume a chicken or something like? He's probably not a chicken. He's probably some kind of crane or something. But why is he now a fully fledged bird? What does this mean? I don't understand the logic. And something else doesn't make much sense to me either. Supposedly he's lost his godly powers. So how is he still able to reform his body as though it's made up of nothing? Because I'm assuming now he's no longer immortal, and I'll get onto that in a second. Actually, let's just keep going. So he basically builds his fucking face because he's been obviously blown into smithereens, and he's like, oh, this really hurts, this really hurts. And then he realises that his halo has disappeared, and he says, oh, my halo's gone. I lost my halo, so now I'm the one who's committed the grave sin. Then some fucking thing points up from his head, God knows why, and then his head starts spinning around. What the hell is going on? I don't get this form. I just don't. I'm sorry. I think it's nice that he's alive. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think it's nice that he's alive. It's cool seeing a Sturmritter survive their fight with the Shinigami. It's happened before, but it's cool seeing it. And it makes me think maybe Pernida is still alive, because possibly Kubo might try and keep all the elites still alive, which we need. Because the last we knew, Pernida wasn't dead. She was just caught in an eternal loop of blowing up. So I think maybe she's alive. Anyway, Lille Barro is like spinning his head and firing out loads of blasts, and he's like, I won't forgive you for this, Kyoraku Shunsui. And he's like, even your death will not be enough to atone for this sin. I've lost my powers as a god. I must destroy your soul society and take that much away from you. So, if he's lost his godly powers, does that mean he's no longer immortal? And I think something that happens in a second reinforces that idea. So anyway, the Soul Society, because apparently it's fine, Lil's now blowing it up, and the Shinigami are just running away from him. There's also now loads of little Lils. I mean, okay, actually no. Before I attack that, I actually think that probably makes sense, because Nanao was supposed to just simply, she wasn't killing him, she was just dispersing his power. So that would explain why there's lots of little Lils. Why they're now fucking chickens, I don't know, but whatever. I guess there's maybe it's some symbolism I'm missing. If you have any idea, do please let me know in the comments below if I'm missing something here. But I just don't understand what this has to do with the X-axis, with the fact that he was a sniper, with the fact that he was a human. I don't know what this has to do with anything. So, with the fact that last week I managed to really thread together this idea. I was clutching at straws that he was still this executioner, this judgment theme going on. Now I just don't get it. I don't get it, but whatever. So anyway, he says, I will destroy Soul Society and take that away from you. And he starts summoning what looks like a fucking Cero, but I guess it's not. As he does this, however, he gets his head cut in half, and then the blast explodes and destroys his face. This makes me think he's not immortal, because rather than just reforming, that crane's neck just drops to the ground and there's blood. So I'm thinking possibly he's now no longer immortal. But no, this also doesn't make any sense. This chapter's actually a bit of a clusterfuck. It's too late for this. But anyway, the rest of the Lils look over to his attacker and they're like, you were supposed to be dead. You were killed. And the figure's like all these filthy birds just cawing gee gee endlessly. It's ringing through my head, and it's fucking Kira. What the fuckity fuck? Like, seriously. I apologise for the excessive cussing, but come on. Okay, so let's have some context first. We already knew that Kira survived Basby's attack because, well, there's two reasons. One of them is the novel where Kira survives the attack and is rebuilt by Miyuri and then fights Shaz Domino. Before you start, that book is still non-canon. All that's canon is that Kira survived. However, the whole Robo-Kira thing, was also in chapter 520.5, which I believe was released with volume 70, which shows Hisagi praying at his dead friend's grave, finding out that Kira survived, etc., etc., which would explain why no one mourned him, which, is something that I'm happy about. But I don't quite get it. Why would Miuri go to such lengths to save Kira's life as to put rods in his body to hold him together? I just don't think... Is Kira really that necessary? Like, no offence to the guy, but is he that necessary? I can't help but feel this is just fan service on Kubo's part. But whatever. Kira's back. Very, very, very cool panel. When he's standing there in front of the moon, and the moon shining through his poles, and there's like lots of pretty incredible shading going on. He's got Wabisuke out, and basically this doesn't make any sense either. So a minute ago Lille was like, you were supposed to be dead. Oh, I know who you are. Now he's saying, who are you? Identify yourself. So whatever. I think it's just so that Kira can get the cool line where he says, I'm a dead man. But that is a cool line. He then slashes two of the faces of Lille and makes him really heavy. And I've got to admit that Kira does look kind of cool. I like the whole sleeve thing going on. That's kind of cool. But he does appear to possibly be slightly different as well. He still retains that depressive nature, because he says, everything's in shambles. I wonder how someone like me managed to survive this. Still very self-deprecating. But he then says, there's definitely something more going on here that's interesting. I wonder if that's just him realising that Yahava's taken over. But then he raises his blade and Lille prepares to attack him. And there's now like 8 Lils in front of him, so I really have no idea how Kira's going to actually win this. Believably, anyway. We don't see that, however, because we then move on to the next fight with the Elite Sternritter. And as I predicted, again, it's Gerard. And he's actually getting his ass handed to him. He goes flying backwards as both Senbon, Zakura, and Zabimaru smash into him. Very cool to see teamwork between these two. Renji's taken a couple of hits, but Byakuya appears to be spotless. And Gerard is just getting his ass handed to him. Ever since Renji went to the Royal Realm, his character has become insufferable. He's become so arrogant. And he says, don't underestimate us. We're the Gotei 13. How many people do you think it would take to hold their own against just a captain and a vice captain? Seriously, take your head out of your ass. I can't wait for Gerard to just hand him his ass, because it's going to happen. And so Gerard's just lying there. And Renji's like, there's no way a little shit like you can possibly hope to defeat us. What? Wake up. Seriously. I think the only reason he's talking shit is because they're kicking Gerard's ass currently. But come on, Renji, you fought a Sternritter before. He pushed you into Bankai. And now, surely Renji would have the logic to think, this guy is defending Yahava's palace. He's not going to be weak. But anyway, Gerard says, there's no way I can defeat you. Is that what you really believe? Well, in that case, if I were to defeat you, that would have to be what you guys would call a miracle, wouldn't it? So it seems that Gerard's going to keep throwing out these miracle puns, which is fine by me, because it's pretty funny. But he does a pretty cool grin at the end of the chapter, which really signifies Renji's about to get fucked up. So at the moment, it appears that it is only Renji and Byakuya fighting him, but I imagine the others are still around. Didn't expect Gerard to be getting his arse handed to him, gotta be honest, but it does appear like he's about to turn the tables with his miracle ability next week. I imagine we'll see that. But yeah, weird chapter. Like, I didn't mind the bit with Shunsui and Nanao, that was cool. But Lille hitting the ground was weird. What was the point in bringing Kira back? What was the point in keeping Lille alive? What was the point in this bit? That's what I want to know. I don't mind that Kubo's making the ground floor relevant again, because I still think Ukitake is going to be saved by Ginjo on the ground, and then they'll go up to the palace. I still think that's going to happen. But I don't get why Kira came back to fight Lille Barro. That's just such a random development. But whatever. I'm happy with Lille surviving. I'm happy with Kira coming back and looking a lot cooler. it just seems very random to me. It seems like Kubo was like, I need to put Kira in somewhere for a bit of fan service. So let's have him fight Lille. That's probably going to happen off screen. Kira might somehow defeat all of the Lils. That might be it. Either way, the real thing is Gerard's fight. That's going to be the next big fight. Presumably it's going to last as long as the last two. Hopefully it does, because I like these long fights. But it does look like Gerard is just going to start handing out beatings. And I hope he does, because Renji needs to be taken down at least 3 notches. And Rukia, for that matter, as well. She's just as bad. But yeah, I hope they get their asses kicked. Byakuya probably won't get his ass kicked, because Byakuya still needs a fight. He needs a reason to still be alive. So, yeah. I don't know. Very weird chapter. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. It was odd. It was odd, to say the least. Artwork was stellar, as always. Artwork always is stellar. But just the plot developments were weird. They were weird. We wasted a fair bit of pages on the Shunsui bit at the beginning as well. And just thought, it was weird. It was weird. I don't know why he did it. Let me know in the comments below why you think Kubo's brought Kira back. Is this going to be part of some overarching storyline that we're going to get a bit more of later on? Or is it just a little bit of fan service and we're not going to see Kira now for ages? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the Gerard setup. Are you hoping to see Renji get his butt kicked? Because he is getting pretty cocky, let's be honest. Or do you think Gerard's going to go down pretty simply, not much trouble whatsoever? Let me know in the comments below, guys. I'd really appreciate your support. That'd be so great. Give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. And once again, I'm sorry that I'm having to whisper a bit in this video, but hopefully it won't happen next week. These, I think, chapters are going to be coming out on Friday now. Unfortunately, that does suck a little bit. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't happen as at a weird time. So, yeah. Let me know in the comments below, guys, what you thought. But until next time, I'll see you later.